Good morning, students. Today's session is for BBA third year HR specialized student, and it is for your first HR specialization, that is for Advanced Human Resource Management. Today I will discuss another theory of motivation, that is Porter and Lawler expectancy theory of motivation, and probably this is the last theory of motivation today we will discuss. Let me start Porter and Lawler expectancy theory of motivation. In this topic, what we will study? In this topic, we will study, according to Porter and Lawler, how a person will be motivated, means what are the different ways suggested by Porter and Lawler for motivating a human resource in the organization. And after that, what are the implications of this theory? So let me start Porter and Lawler expectancy theory of motivation. This theory was developed by two friends, that is Porter and Lawler, in the year 1968. They did not provide a new concept related to motivating a human resource. What they did, generally they took Victor Bloom's expectancy theory for their experiment, and after that they modified the Victor Bloom's expectancy theory and they suggest a new theory of motivation that is known as Porter and Lawler's expectancy theory. And we can say that Porter and Lawler expectancy theory is an improvement over Bloom's expectancy theory. Means they did not suggest new thing, they did not provide a new concept related to motivating a human resource. What they did, they took Victor Bloom's expectancy theory for their experiment, and after taking Victor Bloom's theory, whatever the criticisms they found, and after that they modified something, and they modified the Victor Bloom expectancy theory, and they add some new concept to the Victor Bloom expectancy theory, and after that they proposed a new theory of motivation that is known as Porter and Lawler's expectancy theory of motivation. So this theory is completely based on Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. uh, Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. And before starting this concept, first we have to understand what is Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. Means according to Victor Bloom, how a person will be motivated, means what are the different ways suggested by Victor Bloom for motivating a human resource. After that we can able to get a clear idea about this theory, because this theory is completely based on Victor Bloom expectancy theory. It is an improvement over Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. So before understanding this concept, first we have to get a clear idea about Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. Means first we have to understand how a person will be motivated by Victor Bloom. So what suggestion Victor Bloom provided to motivating a human resource within an organization. So before starting this concept, first we have to understand, according to Victor Bloom, how a person will be motivated. So Victor Bloom's theory already I have discussed in my last video in detail. But before starting today's concept, means before starting Porter and Lawler expectancy theory of motivation, it is required us to understand what is Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. Means according to Victor Bloom, how a person will be motivated. So before starting today's concept, let me remind you again, according to Victor Bloom, how a person will be motivated. And after that we can able to get a clear idea about Porter and Lawler's expectancy theory of motivation. Because in this theory, Porter and Lawler add some new concept to the Victor Bloom's expectancy theory, and after that they develop a new theory of motivation that is known as Porter and Lawler's expectancy theory of motivation. So before starting this concept, let me remind you again, according to Victor Bloom, how a person will be motivated. So Victor Bloom said that for motivating a human resource, first it is not required to an organization to identify the human deficiency, human needs, and it is not required for the organization to satisfy these needs first. And he also said that it is not required for the organization to study the human mindset of means whether the person is a positive minded people or the person is a negative minded people. It is not required to identify first. He said that for motivating a human resource, first the organization has to identify whether the employee of an organization understand the concept of understand the level of effort they put and the performance they get and the reward they will receive. Means Victor Broom said that when a person will be motivated, Victor Broom said a person will motivate when the person understands or perceives that if there is a positive relationship exists between the effort they put, the performance they get, and the reward they will receive. Means Victor Bloom said that unless until a person will be motivated, unless until a person will be motivated when they are not able to understand there is a positive relationship exists between the effort they put, the performance they get, and the reward they will receive in future. So for motivating a human resource, Victor Bloom suggests that first the organization has to make the employee understand that there is a positive relationship exists between these three variables, between these three factors, that is effort, performance, and reward. Means organization must have to make the employee understand that if they exert high level of effort in a particular job, then that effort leads to higher performance. Means by putting or by exerting high level of effort, the person can able to get a desired level of performance, can able to get superior performance, and after getting a superior performance, that performance ultimately lead to a satisfactory reward. Means at last the person can able to get a satisfactory reward. Means by getting the satisfactory reward, the person can able to satisfy his or her individual goal or individual needs. Means it is required for an organization first that the organization should have to make understand their employee that there is a relationship exists between effort they put and the performance they get and the reward they will receive in future. If the employee understand this concept, if the employee perceives that there is a relationship exists between these three, means whatever the effort they put or they exert in a particular job, that whether that leads to a satisfactory performance, whether that leads to a superior performance, and after getting a superior performance, if the employee are entitled to get a suitable reward, means as per their effort or as per their level of effort, if they get a suitable reward, then that person are motivated to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. So whatever the other psychologists said, the way of motivating a human resource is different from the Victor Bloom's suggestion, is different from the Victor Bloom's way of motivating a human resource. Victor Bloom said that it is not required to an organization to identify human needs, human deficiencies first for motivating a human resource, and also it is not required to identify the mindset of a human resource, whether that person is a positive minded people or a negative minded people. It is not required for the organization first to identify such thing. So for such thing for motivating a human resource. So he suggests a different way for motivating a human resource. He said how a person will be motivated. He said that a person will be motivated when the person believes that, when a person understand or perceive that there is a positive relationship exists between the effort they put and the performance they get and the reward they will receive in future. If the person or the employee of an organization finds that uh, if in these three variables there is a positive relationship exists, then the person are automatically interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job. So for motivating a human resource, it is required for the organization to make the employee understand that there is a positive relationship exists between the effort they put and the performance they get and the reward they will receive in future. So Victor Bloom identifies three factors for motivating a human resource, that is effort, performance, and reward. If the employee of an organization identifies that or perceives that whatever the effort, whatever the high level of effort he exerts in a particular job, that leads to a satisfactory reward, and that leads to a satisfactory performance, and that performance that higher performance leads to a satisfactory reward, then the person is automatically interested to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. Victor Bloom said that if a person put high level of effort or exert high level of effort in a particular job, then that automatically leads to superior performance, and that superior performance automatically leads to a satisfactory reward. So These three things, these three variables identified by Victor Bloom for motivating a human resource. For these three factors, he used he used three variables for motivating a human resource, that is known as valence, that is equal to effort. Next one is the expectancy, that is equal to performance, and last one is the instrumentality, that is equal to reward. So he said that for motivating a human resource there must be three factors, that is valence, that is that there should be a valence, expectancy, and instrumentality. If the employees are able to identify there is a positive relationship exist between the valence, they put the the expectancy of a person is after putting or after exerting high level of effort, if the person expects that this high level of effort leads to a higher performance, then and after that if the employee of an organization perceives that the employee's higher expectation or higher level of performance or superior performance leads to a satisfactory reward, then the person is automatically interested to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. This thing was said by Victor Bloom for motivating a human resource. But Porter and Lawler said that it is not always gives guarantee that when a person understand that, or when a person perceives that there is a relationship, there is a positive relationship exists between these three factors, means the effort they put, the performance they get, and the reward they will receive in future, reward and receive in future, that not automatically motivate a human resource. Porter and Lawler said that for exerting high level of effort, there are various factors affect, and if a person exert high level of effort in a particular job, that doesn't give guarantee that it automatically leads to a satisfactory reward. Means higher level of effort doesn't directly leads to a satisfactory performance. Means for getting a satisfactory performance there should have to present some factors. If that factor are not present in a particular job, then the person, whether the person exert high level of effort in a particular job, that doesn't leads to a satisfactory performance, and that doesn't leads to a satisfactory performance, and that doesn't lead to a superior performance. And if the person get a superior performance and the satisfaction, that superior performance doesn't directly lead to satisfaction. Means after getting a reward also, sometimes the person are not motivated, not satisfied. So for getting satisfaction, Porter and Lawler said that there are various factors. There are various factors that affect the satisfaction level of a employee. Means Porter and Lawler, what they did generally, they modified the Victor Bloom's expectancy theory. Victor Bloom said that if employees find that there is a positive relationship exists between these three things, between these three factors, then the person will be motivated. But Porter and Lawler said that for exerting high level of effort, there should be various factors. Means there are two factors that affect uh, the person's interest or the person's exerting high level of effort in a particular job. So if two factors are present in a particular job, then the person are interested to exert high level of effort. And after exerting high level of effort in a particular job, Porter and Lawler said that doesn't lead to a superior performance directly. For getting a superior performance, there should be presence of two factors. And if these two factors are present in a particular job, then if that person exert high level of effort in a particular job, that leads to a superior performance. And after getting a superior performance, that doesn't directly leads to a satisfaction if the employee gets rewards also. Means Porter and Lawler said that if a person get equitable reward or get some reward, then that doesn't directly lead to satisfaction. So for satisfaction also there are three factors affect. If these three factors are present, or if these three factors perceived by an employee, then the satisfaction arises to a person. After that the person will motivate. So Porter and Lawler said that for performing or for getting a particular thing, there should be various factors that affect. If that factor present in a particular job, then only the person can be interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job, and that the person can able to get a desired performance and a superior performance, and that performance also lead to a satisfactory reward. Means after getting a reward, the person can able to satisfy himself or herself, so that the person can interest to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. So, for what Porter and Lawler said, Porter and Lawler said that the effort doesn't lead towards performance and satisfaction. Rather, it determines the value of reward and the ability of an individual and perception. Means for leading a high effort towards the performance, there should be various factors. That is, value of reward, ability of an individual, and role perception of an employee. If these factors are present in a particular job, then whatever the effort the person put or exert in a particular job, that leads to a superior or higher performance. And after that, if the person get the reward, means if the person get suitable reward, and sometimes the person may not able to the sometimes the person may not able to get desired success and desired satisfaction. Sometimes the person may not able to get total satisfaction out of the organization by getting a suitable reward also. For satisfaction, Porter and Lawler said that there must be three factor presence, that is intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and perceived equitable reward. Means if the employee perceives that he get a equitable reward, then only the employee of an organization can be motivated to exert high level of effort. So Porter and Lawler explain this theory through multivariate module. That module explain the complex relationship that exists between the effort they put, the performance they get, and the satisfaction the person will receive. So this is the module given by Porter and Lawler. So from this diagram, it is quite clear that there are three factors must have to present in a job. Means effort. If the employee understand that there is if an employee understand that if there is a positive relationship exists between the effort they put, the performance they get, and the satisfaction or the reward they will receive, these are the important terms. These are the key elements of a motivational concept. So generally the effort, the performance, and the reward system provided by Victor Bloom, what the Porter and Lawler did, Porter and Lawler add some concept, add some new factor to this theory, and they develop another theory that is known as Porter and Lawler theory of motivation. So first they said that when a person interested to exert high level of effort, for exerting high level of effort, there are two factors that affect, that is value of reward and perceived effort reward probability. Means if a person identifies that there is a suitable reward for him, and if the person exert high level of effort, then the person may get a suitable reward, and that reward may create some value for the employee, then only the person are interested to exert high level of effort. And last one is the perceived effort reward probability. Means if the employee perceives that there is a probability of getting a suitable reward if that person exert high level of effort in a particular job. So Porter and Lawler said that for exerting high level of effort, if the employee perceives that there is a good or there is a reward effort and reward probability, and if he understand if he understand the value of the reward, means if he perceives that whatever the reward he will receive in future that create a value for the employee, then automatically he will motivate to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. And previously Victor Bloom said that when a person understands there is a positive relationship exists between these three things, effort they put, performance they get, and the reward they will receive in future, then only they are interested to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. He said that if a person exerts high level of effort in a particular job, that automatically leads to a satisfactory performance or a superior performance, and that performance automatically lead to a good reward and satisfactory reward. So but Porter and Lawler modified something and add some new factors, new concept to that theory. Means they said that when a person interests to exert high level of effort, when the person understand the value of the reward, and when the person perceives that there is a probability of effort and reward. After that, if these two factors are present, or after understanding these two factors, the person are interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job. And after that, Porter and Lawler said that if a person exert high level of effort in a particular job, that doesn't give guarantee that that person's performance is a superior one. Means the person will able to get a superior performance and excellent performance. For getting an excellent performance, there must have to present two factors, that is ability and trait, and next one is the role perception. Victor Bloom said that if a person exerts high level of effort, that ultimately leads to superior performance. But Porter and Lawler said that for getting a higher performance, for getting a desire or superior performance, there must have to present two factors, that is ability and trait and role perception. If these two factors are present in a particular job, then automatically the person's higher effort leads to a superior performance. Okay. And after that, after getting a desired performance, a superior performance, when the employee gets satisfaction, when the performance leads to a satisfaction, if the Victor Bloom said that if the person exert high level of effort, that leads to a higher performance, and higher performance ultimately leads to a good reward or satisfactory reward. But Porter and Lawler said that the satisfaction derives when the person perceives that there is a equitable reward concept, and there is a system of equal reward to all employees, and there is a intrinsic reward and the intrinsic reward concept, and there is a extrinsic reward system. Means if the person get intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and if that person or that employee of an organization perceives that there is a equitable reward system, then ultimately that leads to satisfaction. Ultimately performance or superior performance leads to satisfaction of an employee. So this is the module given by Porter and Lawler. Porter identifies that for exerting higher level of effort to a particular job, there should be presence of two factors, that is value of reward, perceived effort, and reward probability. And after presence of these two factors, the person are interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job, and after exerting high level of performance, that doesn't lead to a superior performance until two factors are present in a particular job, that is ability and trait and role perception of an employee. And after getting a superior performance, that ultimately doesn't directly leads to satisfaction unless until three factors are present in between. So what are the three factors? That is intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and perceived equitable reward. If the employee get intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and if the employee perceives that there is a equitable reward concept, then automatically the employee get a satisfaction, and that motivate our human resource to exert high level of effort. Now I will discuss various elements. These are the elements, that is value of reward, perceived effort, reward probability, ability and trait, role perception, intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and perceived equitable reward. These are the various elements of Porter and Lawler theory. Now I will discuss these elements in detail. So first element is uh, uh, effort. Effort, we can say that effort means it is an energy, or it is amount of energy that a people exert or use in a particular job. Effort, we can say that it is a potentialities or capabilities or strength of a person that he or she exert in a particular job to get a desired performance, to get a desired reward. So effort, we can say that it is the amount of energy used by a person mentally or physically to complete a work. For example, if a person want to get more money, means if a person want to get more incentive and more bonus, so for that reason the person want to use all their potentialities in a particular job. so that the person can able to achieve or able to cross these standards, so that the person can able to entitle for more incentives and more bonus. So at that situation, effort means what? The higher energy or the amount of energy the person put in a particular job. So Porter and Lawler said that when a person interests to exert high level of effort in a particular job, when they understand that there is a effort reward probability, means if the employee understand that whatever the reward he will exert in a particular job, and that if that leads to a success, that leads to a particular reward, means by applying what by applying the energy, or by applying the potentialities or exerting the potentialities in a particular job, and as per the level of effort the person will get a suitable reward in future or not. If the employee perceives that whatever the effort he will put in a particular job, whether that leads to a satisfactory reward, and there is a probability of getting suitable reward as per the energy the person put in a particular job, then only the person interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job. So after that, he has to identify that whatever the reward he will receive in future, that create a value for the employee. Means even employee having a strong desire in promotion, recognition of work, achievement and advancement, if the organization provides with more incentive, more bonus, that may not create a value for that employee. Or take another example, if a person want more money, means if a person want higher incentive, higher bonus, if the organization provides a reward like holiday trip, recognition of work, growth and achievement, that reward may not create a value for the employee. So for exerting high level of effort in a particular job, the person must have to identify that the reward he will receive in future, that create a value for that employee, and he must have to perceive there is a effort and reward probability. So after that, the person interests to exert high level of effort in a particular job. Next, after exerting a high level of effort in a particular job, Porter and Lawler said that higher level of effort doesn't automatically leads to a higher performance or superior performance. For getting a superior performance, there must have to present two factors. So, what are the factors? First one is the ability and trait and role perception. Means Porter and Lawler said that if a person having right amount of skills, having right qualities within, and right experience, proper experience within, then the person can able to complete his or her task in a most effective and efficient manner. Means take example of software specialist. If a software specialist is wrongly posted in a post of production department, then the software specialist may not have sufficient knowledge related to production. So in that situation, if that person exert higher level of effort in a particular job, he will not get a satisfactory performance, and his performance is not up to the mark, because there there is absence of one factor, that is ability and trait of a person. Trait means what? Characteristics and qualities of a person. If a person having right quality, right skill, right character and right knowledge for about a job, then that person able to perform that job in a perfect manner, in a smooth manner, so that the person's higher effort ultimately leads to a satisfactory performance. Porter and Lawler said that trait and ability not only affect the performance, not only affect the superior level of performance, and role perception also having an influence in a particular level of performance. Means if a person perceive their role in a perfect way, then only the person can able to perform in a desired manner, then only the person can act in a desired manner. Role perception means what? The person must have to understand what role he has to perform, what duty he has to perform, what is his responsibility, what he has to perform, and whom he has to answerable. So if the person understands these things, then only the person's performance, then only the person's higher effort leads to a higher performance. So what Porter and Lawler said that Lawler said that if a person exert high level of effort in a particular job, that doesn't directly leads to higher level of performance unless until there are presence of two factors, that is skill and ability and role perception. If these factors are present in a particular job, then the person's higher effort leads to a superior or satisfactory level of performance. And after getting a desired level of performance, the Porter and Lawler said that doesn't give directly satisfaction to an employee. For getting a satisfaction, there are three factors must have to present. First one is the intrinsic reward, extrinsic reward, and perceived equitable reward. If the person first perceives that there is an equitable reward system, means whatever the task he performs and same task performed by his or her colleague, and both are entitled to get same reward, then only the person perceive that there is a concept of equitable reward and the person gets satisfaction. And if one of his colleagues get more incentive, more bonus, more incentive and more bonus, if that person performs same whatever this person perform, then the person will not feel satisfaction and the person dissatisfied with the organizational reward system. So for satisfaction, for getting desired level of satisfaction, the person must have to perceive that there should be a equitable reward system. And after that, he has to he has to get two types of reward, that is intrinsic reward and extrinsic reward. Means if a person having a strong desire in intrinsic reward, then the organization should have to provide this type of reward to that person so that person get satisfaction. And if the person having interest in extrinsic reward, the organization should have to provide extrinsic reward to that person so that person is interested to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. Now let me explain you what is the intrinsic reward, what is the extrinsic reward. Intrinsic reward is always internal to the employee. If this type of reward are given to an employee, then employee self-esteem, self-actualization, status, reputation can be improved and internal satisfaction arises to a person. If this reward are provided to a particular person, then that person of an organization feels that they are doing a good job. So generally the person having interest in this reward, if the organization provide this reward after getting a desired performance, then the person is motivated, then the person is interested to exert all the potentialities in a particular job. Next one is the extrinsic reward. Extrinsic reward may be in the form of money, working condition, etc. So if the person having interest in money, if the organization provide money as their reward, then the person are interested to exert high level of effort. So Porter and Lawler said that when a person gets satisfaction, when a performance leads to satisfaction, when the organization provides equitable reward to a person, when the organization provides intrinsic reward or extrinsic reward to a particular person, then the person's higher performance leads to a satisfactory reward. So after that, the person will motivated to exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. So this is all about the elements of Porter and Lawler model and the way of motivating a human resource as per the views of Porter and Lawler. Next, I will discuss implication of Porter and Lawler's theory. So in this topic, what we will discuss, in implication, we will discuss if the HR manager of an organization applies this theory, what thing or what ways he is to adopt for motivating our human resource. First, the HR manager must watch the ability and trait of individual to the requirement of the job by putting the right person on the right job. Means first the HR manager or before putting a person in a particular job, first he has to identify what the person having skills, what type of skill the person having, what type of knowledge or experience the person having, and he must have to match the person's ability and trait. to a particular requirement of the job, and after identifying such thing, if that person is appointed in a right job in that job, then the person can able to perceive their role perfectly, and the employee having right skill to perform that job, so that the person, if he put high level of effort in a particular job, that ultimately leads to superior performance. So before putting a right person in a right job, the HR manager must have to match the employee's ability and trait to a particular requirement of the job, so that he can able to perform their job in a better way. Next, HR manager must explain to the subordinates their role, or what they have role, and or what they have to do to get a reward. Means HR manager must have to explain their subordinates what to do, whom they have to be answerable, what responsibilities he is to perform, and what task he is to perform, so that they can able to get a suitable reward. Next, HR manager had to prescribe in terms of expected but attainable performance labels. Means HR manager must have to prescribe the expected level of performance. The expected level of performance means what the organization wants from an employee, what organization expects from an employee. So after crossing that level of performance, the employee can able to get a suitable reward. Next, he should have to design appropriate reward system to motivate a human resource. Means HR manager's responsibility is to develop a suitable compensation system. HR manager must have the responsibility to revise the reward system time to time, so that motivate, that attract a human resource for exerting high level of effort in a particular job. Next, HR manager should make sure about the reward provided are valued by the employees. Means he has to provide the reward to a particular employee as per their requirement, as per the employee's requirement. If the HR manager provides the rewards to employee, and that create a value for the employee, then that employee interest to exert high level of effort in a particular job. So HR manager always provides the reward to an employee which create a value for the employee, so that the person are interested to exert high level of effort in a particular job. Next, he should have to make appropriate combination of intrinsic and extrinsic reward. Means organization or HR manager should have to provide a combination of intrinsic and extrinsic reward. He should not provide only one reward to a particular employee. He should have to provide a combination of intrinsic reward and extrinsic reward. Means by getting more money, the person can able to increase the person's internal feeling, so that the person are interested to retain with the organization, or the person are interested to motivate or exert high level of effort towards the organizational goal. So this is all about the Porter and Lawler theory of motivation. This is the last theory of motivation, and today we will cover today we completed our first unit.